Welcome to the Out of Your Comfort Zone podcast. On today's episode, we'll be talking to Coco and Talia about their experience doing CIEE programs 2 years in a row. We hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the Out of Your Comfort Zone podcast. We are joined today by Coco and Talia, who are two students who did our CIEE programs for 2 summers in a row. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves and talk about where they're from and what programs they participated on. So do you want to go ahead, Coco?
So I'm Coco. I'm from New York. And then in 2023, I did the Leadership and Service in Children's Education in Legon, Ghana. And then in 2024, I did the Leadership and Service in Youth Development in Mohammedia, Morocco.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Talia. I am from Boston, Massachusetts, and I did in 2023, I did Argentina's culture exchange program. And then in 2024, I did an aerospace engineering program in Toulouse, France.
Awesome. And so tell me about your first summer. So for you, you both actually chose images from your first summer, your first experience, which is interesting. How was that experience for you in Ghana, Coco, and for you in Argentina, Talia? How would you summarize your experience of studying abroad with CIEE in 2023?
Yeah, so I would say that I had a very positive experience. I mean, I love Argentina. It's such a great place. I mean, the culture is amazing and everybody is like so nice there, honestly. And for CIEE specifically, I just found that like I was so much more immersed in the culture doing this program. And I felt that my language skills, like I speak Spanish in school, but there, like my language skills were really put to the test and I was really able to practice it more than I usually was. So I really loved it.
Yeah, and kind of adding on to Talia, I feel like CIE really makes it like all the programs, not just tourism, but it really makes us completely live and immerse ourselves in the life and culture of like a completely different country and continent, which is so amazing. So definitely for me, it was such a life-changing experience and it really opened my eyes and it was so amazing.
And so what would you say inspired you to go back? How did you make that decision? So summer 2023, you get back, probably like a lot of alumni can identify with, you're missing your study abroad experience, right? And, what inspired you to go on another CIEE program in a different location, right? Not going back to the same location. And when did you kind of know that you wanted to do it again? At what point did you realize that you might want to do a second program?
Yeah. Okay. So the first time I knew that I wanted to have the experience was while I was still in Ghana in the summer of 2023, because it was just so life-changing on so many different levels. And even though like all the CIE alumni I had talked to said the same thing about it being life-changing, I don't think I fully understood that until I actually went on my program, because I learned so many different skills, especially ones about teaching and leadership, which was like what my program was focused on. But most importantly, it really helped me view the world in like from a different perspective, because my program, I'm sure other programs as well, as I mentioned, it wasn't just tourism. It really, gave us a different experience and different view on these countries, which is so amazing. And one of the main reasons I wanted to go on my first program is that I really wanted to improve my teaching and leadership skills, but I also had always wanted to travel to Africa, and I really wanted to learn more about different cultures there. Which is also why I decided to go in a separate part of Africa for my second program, because it's such a big continent with so many distinct different cultures that I didn't really feel like I could learn about all the different African cultures in just one trip. And especially in the weeks and months after I left Ghana, I realized how much I missed every part of the program. So I started looking into some similar programs and then found the one in Morocco and I applied.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I had a slightly different experience with realizing that I was going to come back to CIEE and do another year. I honestly had no idea I was going to until like I was looking over the summer and I saw that like aerospace engineering was a program in Toulouse, and I really want to be an aerospace engineer when I grow up. So to me, it was kind of just like a perfect opportunity. And I knew I loved CIE. I knew they did their programs really well. So I kind of just knew once I saw it that I really wanted to do it. So yeah, and I mean, like obviously, my experience in Argentina was an amazing one, but I think it's important to note that it is a different experience because it's not a topic program; it's a culture program. So I wanted to be able to experience both that CIE had to offer. So that was really important to me.
Yeah, that's great. You make a very good point that you did both types of the programs that we offer, right? You did a language and culture program, and then you did a topic program. What would you highlight
Yeah.
the main differences?
Okay, so one of the main differences was that in the culture program, you stay like with a family who lives there. So I would definitely say that it's a more immersive experience. So if you want to, like learn the language and learn more of the culture, um, and really learn about like the city that you're living in, I think that a culture program would be better for that. But the topic program, honestly, it's so great. I love the topic program so much. I mean, I had the best time, but it was definitely less focused on, I mean, we did still learn about the culture, but it wasn't as immersive. You didn't need to know the language of the places you were going to. You did learn some of it, but it wasn't as deep into the culture as, say, the other program was.
And how would you say, Coco, in the leadership and service program? So you decided to do the same type of program twice, right? So what, and leadership and service, they fall under the category of our topic programs, but they are still kind of their own category in a way, right? They are still a little bit different. So what do you love about leadership and service programs? Why did you decide to do another one? How immersive would you say it is?
So yeah, actually, I kind of had like a difference in mind that kind of relates to the whole homestay family situation that Talia also had. Because for my first program, I actually stayed in a hostel with all of the other students from my program, and then the second one, I did stay with a homestay family. So it was different, and I would say that my Morocco program was a lot more immersive because even though in my Ghana program, we had language classes and we had, culture classes and all that stuff. And we would, obviously like walk around like the city and everything. I feel like my Morocco program was so much more immersive because of a homestay family. And I was a bit scared about this because I felt that I wasn't going to be as close with the people in my actual program if I wasn't in a hostel like I did the first year. But it actually made me so much closer with the people in my program. I don't know if that's because like my program was smaller, but really we were so close in the second program. And I definitely learned so much more about the culture through this homestay family. So yeah, it was a really amazing experience.
So you guys both had one homestay experience and one kind of hostel community living experience. Are you still in contact with your homestay families? Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm still in contact with the people in my program and my homestay family. We like text every like week and we send each other voice memos and things. And my homestay mom, I had a homestay mom and a homestay sister, and my homestay mom doesn't speak a word of English because the main languages in Morocco are Arabic and French. Um, but she didn't speak that much French either. So it was kind of like we didn't really know how to communicate with her, but she sends us like voice memos in English saying like, I miss you and stuff. And then we send her back voice memos in Arabic, which is so sweet. So yeah, I miss them a lot.
Do you feel like you picked up some Arabic?
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like also my Morocco program, even though like it immersed myself so much more in the culture, not only because of the homestays, but also we had a lot more language classes there. Sorry. And I feel like I learned so much Arabic. Like coming into the program, I didn't know a word of Arabic. And when I came out, I learned so much more. So yeah, definitely.
Talia, you still talk to your host family from Buenos Aires?
I do. So I had a host mom, so I only had one. But we're really close, so I still contact her occasionally. But it's been 2 years, so we don't contact each other every week. I wish we did. But yeah, it's still like, and then the people that I met on the trip, I still talk to them like constantly, so it's great.
That's amazing. Yeah. The friendships that you formed. And now you guys did double, right? Because you did it 2 years in a row. So you have all of these friends all over the US too now, right? So would you say that the experience was different the second time? Thinking about like your preparation, right? You'd already gone through the process of studying abroad the first time. So were the nerves still there? Did you prepare in a different way? Did you have the same feelings going into the second program, or was it a little bit different?
Yeah, so I think that since, I mean, like I mentioned before, since I was a homestay the second time around, I immersed myself a lot more into the culture than I did the first time. I still communicate with my host mom and my host sister. And it's like just so amazing to know that I'm welcome back whenever I want. They make that really clear, like a second home. But not only did my like homestay make me feel this way, but also some of the program leaders who actually live in Mohammedia did too. And they gave us this little keychain that I still have in my room that has my name in Arabic on one side, and the other side there's like a little carving of a door that like so that they gave it to us, and they said that you guys are always welcome back to Morocco. So I feel like again, like I mentioned before, like it was so much more immersive the second time because I lived with a host mom and a host sister. And I think that I also got more language skills out of the second time than the first, because the first two, you know, the two most spoken languages in Morocco are French and Arabic. And even though I'm fluent in French, which kind of made it easier for me, I didn't know a word of Arabic coming into the program. I learned so much, and it also made the language barrier a bit harder since, you know, as I mentioned before, my host mom didn't speak English and only a little bit of French. But you know, she taught us Arabic and Moroccan culture norms, and we taught her some English and American culture norms. So yeah, that kind of made the language barrier a little bit like less.
But so, when you were going in this summer, right, were you nervous about having a homestay? Because you didn't have a homestay the first time, right? So did you kind of still have the nerves of almost like it was your first time studying abroad because this time you knew it was going to be more immersive with the homestay? How were your feelings like?
Yeah, I definitely was nervous because I didn't feel like I was going to be as close with the people in my program since we weren't all living together. But I think that so I definitely was very nervous when I came into the program. But in the first like few days, I just felt so welcome already. So I think that just made it a little less nervous. And there were also a lot of people in my program who were very homesick and things. And I think having a host family just makes it feel like you're at home in a different country, if that makes sense. So yeah, I was nervous, but it wasn't that bad when I got there.
Talia, how did you go into the second?
Yeah, so I have to say, my first year, I was a little bit nervous for the homestay, like Coco said, but I was a bit more secure in myself, like in the city, because I'm fluent in Spanish. So I was in Argentina, and I was like, I'm gonna be fine, because I can speak the language. And the homestay, like, it's a bit nerve-wracking because you don't know like who you're gonna stay with, and it's just like it's kind of awkward the first couple days because you're just trying to get to know each other. As you like keep going through the program, you get so much closer with like your homestay parents. And so honestly, I wasn't as nervous for the first one as I was the second one, because going into the second one, I don't speak a word of French. So I was a bit nervous as to like being in a whole new city without speaking the language. So that was something that I definitely had to figure out. But honestly, the preparation was a bit different because I knew that I didn't know the language the second time. So I was, trying to like write down some French terms that I could use in case like I needed it. Um, but I definitely think that the CIE program, the topic programs, they definitely make it a bit easier if you don't speak the language, to kind of like help you get to know a little bit and enough to get through your day. So
thinking for people who are looking to study abroad, what advice do you have? What advice do you have for, you guys are pros at studying abroad now, right? You've done it twice. So for somebody doing it the first time, or do you recommend that people do it the second time? Do you feel like you got something different out of it the second time that, you should, that people should take the chance to do it twice if they can?
Yeah, that's a hard question. I mean, like, the advice I would give people is to just do it. I mean, I think it's such a great opportunity, and I think that if you're trying to learn the language, if you're trying to like learn like one of the topic programs, I just think that it's such a great opportunity to study abroad because of how much it widens your worldview. I mean, like, just being in the United States and not knowing a lot about like other cultures and not being able to experience the other cultures. I mean, you might know of them, but I think it's a whole different thing to experience it and to really be immersed in it. So honestly, I say if it interests you and you're thinking about it, I would do it. I mean, I think that both programs I did were so different, but they taught me like so many different things. So I think that, I mean, as somebody who went twice, I would do it. I mean, the first year I went for culture, the second year I went for something a bit more technical. And I think that what I got out from the first year and the second year were very different. From the first year, I learned, how like the culture of Buenos Aires and then also like the language and how they lived there. And I think that it was definitely more like I was part of the whole experience. I wasn't an outsider looking like in like you would as a tourist. I was there looking like as somebody who lived there. And then when I was in when I was in Toulouse for aerospace engineering, I learned I learned a good amount about France and about Toulouse, but it was definitely more for the experience of studying aerospace engineering in a city that's known for it. So it was different, but I definitely think I learned a lot from both programs.
Yeah, so I kind of add on to that, but I would definitely take the opportunity to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. I mean, like the podcast is called, but I can't emphasize how much it's important to like put yourself out there. I don't think I fully realized that on my first study abroad program, which is also like why I set myself some goals for the second one to kind of, put myself out there because you're in a foreign country with people you don't know, and it's fully your opportunity to be a different, better version of yourself, and to let the experience make you a better person. Like you don't only learn about different cultures and perspectives, but you also learn so much about yourself and who you are as a person. So definitely my advice would be not to be scared to try something new, but it has to do with you or trying something new, like an activity or a food that's super common in the country you started abroad in. Like when I first arrived in Morocco, there were so many crazy culture shocks. For example, like the meal timing, because I had no idea that they technically have 4 meals a day, where like lunch is later in the afternoon, and then there's what they call like snack time, which is at like 8 p.m. But like for us, snack time is like 4 p.m., maybe like where you get a slice of pizza or ice cream or something, but they have a bunch of breads and pastries and spreads and cookies. And then they have dinner time around like 1 a.m. and they go to sleep at 3. So that definitely was a crazy culture shock for me. But at first, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to bed at like 10 p.m. every day. And with my roommate, we were just like so exhausted. But then we thought about it and we were like, we're never going to have this experience again. So we ended up, staying up later, having like dancing with our host mom and host sister, playing cards until really late because that's just how they live. And I feel like that's just like a really good example of like the first time I would not have done something like that. But the second time, really, I was like, okay, what did I learn the first time that, I maybe want to try the second time? So that's definitely, yeah, my advice would definitely just to put yourself out there because I feel like you're going to regret a lot of things after the program that you wish you had done. So yeah, put yourself out there, try new things, and get the most out of the experience because it'll be over before it started because it goes by so quickly.
Sorry, I just want to add that that is such great advice. I think that like I went through the same thing my first year. I didn't really put myself out there as much. I mean, I was younger, obviously, and I was a little scared because it was my first time, in a different country, meeting all new people. So I think that my second time around, I definitely, like as you did, I learned that it's important to just put yourself out there and, get out of your comfort zone and meet new people and have fun because you're in a place where you're not normally in and like you're meeting new people and nobody's gonna know like, you can't like embarrass yourself, like so I think it's very important to put yourself out there.
For sure, right? And like that's why this podcast is called Out of Your Comfort Zone, right? That's when all of the amazing things happen, is when you leave your comfort zone, right? That's when all of the growth happens. That's when all of the learning happens. That's when probably most of the happiest moments happen, right? When you're out of your comfort zone. So what year are you both in high school now?
I'm a junior in high school.
I'm also a junior.
So are the two of you thinking about, keeping up this? I'm not saying necessarily another summer program for the third year in a row, perhaps, but, do you see yourselves more and more as becoming global citizens who are going to continue international travel throughout your life and maybe in college do study abroad? How do you foresee your future in terms of international travel?
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm gonna do another summer program. I think that that's definitely that's a bit of a gray area for me. I'm not sure. But I definitely think that I am still going to be traveling and maybe doing a year abroad in my college. But I'm also thinking of living abroad. So I want to live in Spain when I'm older. So hopefully I continue to be a global citizen.
My experience is kind of different. I feel like the first time I went abroad was just so life-changing for me that I realized I kind of discovered my love for traveling through CIE programs. So like through CIE programs, I kind of started to look into, other traveling opportunities I could do with my school, going to different countries, and I just love learning about different cultures so much. I feel like it makes me a better person, and just so eye-opening and gives me a different perspective on, different cultures around the world, different issues around the world. So I would definitely consider studying abroad with CIE again or doing another program. I don't know about another summer program because that might be a little bit, a lot, but I'm definitely going to study abroad again.
Um, so thinking of like specifics of time on program, I don't know, your favorite memories, your favorite food, like what was the best food that you ate in each country? So both for Ghana and Morocco for Coco and Argentina and France for Talia.
Let's see. Okay, so in Ghana, every day we would kind of eat the same thing because they are very known for their jollof, which is kind of like spiced rice a little bit and chicken. So we would have that almost every day for lunch. So I feel like that's definitely it has a special place in my heart. I feel like that's definitely we like learn to cook it and different spices on it. So I think that's definitely my favorite meal from Ghana. And then from Morocco, it's a hard question because they have so many different things, especially with all of like the meals that I mentioned before. I feel like it's like at snack time they'll like bring out some sort of bread that you've never seen before. But okay, this is kind of weird, but the bread is definitely my favorite because I forget what it's called, but it was so good. We had it every single day for breakfast and we learned to make it and it was so amazing. It's kind of like a pita bread almost, but I'll let you know what it's called if I think about it again. But I think that's definitely my favorite meal from Morocco.
This is such a hard question. I have so many favorites. But I think from Argentina, I really like the empanadas. They were really good. I can't lie. Like I had an embarrassing amount each day. It was really bad. But another thing I didn't realize about like Argentina was that they have really good coffee and really good pastries. I didn't expect it, but when I got there were so many coffee shops, like every corner there was a coffee shop. And I love coffee, I love pastries. So me and my friends would go every day and we'd stop at a cafe and do our work and like order a coffee and maybe alfajores are also really good. They're like I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like a cone of like this like cookie. Inside is dulce de leche, and then it's like covered in chocolate, which is really good if you ever get to try it. Um, and then I think in France, obviously the bread was so good. The coffee there was also really good. I can't lie, it was so good. And then I had a lot of good gelato there actually. So the food was really good like in both places. So I loved it.
Did you do any cooking classes? Like Coco, you did cooking classes in both programs. It's pretty common, Talia.
Yeah, so we did do a cooking class. So in Argentina we cooked pizzas, and then we also we learned to make yerba mate, which is like a drink, which is really important in Argentina. It's a big part of their culture. So that was fun to learn. And then in Toulouse, we did a pastry making class. So we baked like this chocolate cake and it was really good. So
Have you made any of the recipes since you've gotten back? Have you cooked for your family and friends the recipes that you learned abroad?
Okay, so I did bring back yerba mate. I brought that back to them, so I showed them how to make that. Um, in France, I'm really bad at like baking, so I didn't want to butcher it. But I enjoyed when I had it. I just don't think I could recreate.
What about you, Coco?
I didn't make anything for my family because I, like Talia, am not that good at baking and cooking. But on the last day in Morocco, me and my host mom and my roommate, we made like I think like 30 of these breads, which I remember are called cinnamon. I'm completely butchering that, by the way. I'm so sorry, but we made like 30 of them, and my host mom like packed them in a special wrapping so that we could give them to our families and kind of like give them a little bit of the Moroccan experience because this bread was so good that I like had it for like a week after, I got back from Morocco. So, but I haven't cooked anything because I don't remember the recipe.
Yeah. I mean, that was a totally unfair question. I'm a horrible cook. So I I was just hoping you guys were better than me. Cool. A favorite memory. If you had to pick one favorite memory, what would it be?
I think like from Ghana and Morocco or just like one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, from both. Yeah.
Okay. So I think in Morocco, my favorite experience was definitely camel riding. I think that was just such an amazing experience. There's some like photos online, but it was like at sunset and we were all just like attached, like camel by camel, and we were all just sitting there and just like looking at the sunset and this beautiful desert. And like at that moment, like you just like look out and you're like, you like all these like small problems in your life just seem so random because you're like, I was in the middle of Africa on a camel with some of the greatest friends I've ever made. And it was just such an amazing experience. So, yeah, it definitely was. And then in Ghana, it's kind of a long time ago, but I think it might have been just like some of the culture classes we had, or actually, never mind. The culture classes were amazing, but Ghana is very famous for their like markets and night markets and things. So in Ghana, I learned a lot of bargaining skills, and I realized my love for bargaining in Ghana, which I continue to carry on in my experience in Morocco. So definitely, we went to the markets every single like week, and we would like trade and things, and we would buy some of like famous like things from like of Ghanaian experience. I still have some in my room, like these little wood carvings that they have, and I would bring back gifts for my families. And so, yeah, that was definitely my favorite experience there.
Yeah, this is a really hard question again. Oh my God. So I would say that in Buenos Aires, my favorite memory was when we did a tango class. At first I was like, I'm not gonna dance, like no way. Like I'll watch, but I'm not gonna do it. But then the instructor ended up pulling me to dance with him, which I was completely taken aback, but it let me get out of my comfort zone and it let me like do something that I normally would never have thought of doing. And then I had fun for the rest of the time. I was dancing for the rest of the time. So that was really, really fun. I also have to say, Argentina, like at night, is so pretty. I love cities, so just being in one big city at night was so fun, and it was just so pretty, and I love being there. Um, and then I have to say for Toulouse, I really liked, so we did rocket workshops. And then like at the end of the day, we would all launch our rockets. So we would all like be together and looking at each other's rockets launch. And like some of them would like go like all over. So it was just so fun. And then also on the last day in Toulouse, my group we were a smaller group, so we were all really close. Um, but again, with like the getting out of your comfort zone, we like had there was like I don't know how to explain it, but there was like a square outside of like the hotel we were staying at. And it was like this like big like square, and they had music, so sometimes like people would go out and dance. And so we decided that on the last day we were gonna put on some music and we were gonna dance. So we did that, and then some people like ended up joining us, just like some locals, and it was just so fun. And we actually got a good amount of people to dance, so it was really fun.
So fun. That's so sweet. I love moments like that, right?
I know, it was so great.
Awesome. Do you guys have any last words? Anything that you want to add before we finish? Anything we didn't talk about that you really wanted to talk about?
I think just in general, like at the beginning, like I think it was my freshman year before I went to Ghana, I was kind of debating whether or not I should go. I was kind of, a little scared, obviously, because I'm going into, this continent I've never been to before, this country I've never been to before, to hear about and learn about a culture that, is not, learned about a lot. So I was definitely very scared to do that, and I didn't know whether or not I should apply or not, but I'm so, so glad I did. Like I can't express how much like it was a life-changing experience. I know that everyone says that, but really you don't, fully understand that until you go on a program. I met some of, the greatest people I've ever met on both of my programs, and I still talk to them daily. I still have great connections with my homestay family from Morocco. And really they're just experiences I'm never going to forget. They were just so amazing, each in their different ways. So I definitely would just highly recommend applying to the CIEE summer abroad programs, and to make the most out of it when you're there, because you're not going to go back. Well, you're never going to have an experience like that again. So definitely take advantage of it.
Yeah, and I think going along with what Coco said, it's so important to just like value the connections you have with the people there, and to not be afraid to like go out and meet new people. I mean, obviously, it's a bit scary when you're just like in a new country with people you don't know, but you'll get to know each other fast, and the connections you make with the people there are honestly so great. Like I still talk with the people I met like constantly, and I'm still as close to them as I was there. And then another thing I think is, if you're scared about like not knowing the language and about the language barrier, I would still say that you should do it. And I think that CIEE provides enough opportunities to learn the language and enough resources where I think that even if you don't know the language that well, I still think it's a great opportunity to go and like discover a new country. So I think it's very important.
So thank you both for joining us today, and thank you for listening to this episode of Out of Your Comfort Zone, with Talia and Coco, both amazing guests who have done 2 CIEE programs. So
Thank you for listening to Out of Your Comfort Zone. For more information on high school study abroad programs, visit ciee.org/global navigator.